first thing you're going to do is you need to ask yourself what shape you're dealing with. Now, personally, I'm one of those people that when I draw everything too big. So, and this happens, I had a problem with some of my drawing paint 2 kids. So let's say, for example, I tell myself, okay, I want a drawing this big right here on this piece of paper. If I were to just go right into it and start drawing, I guarantee you I would make it 4 times too big. Okay, 4 times too big, and I wouldn't be able to fit it on the paper. So, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself guidelines, okay? So what I need to figure out first is what kind of box am I dealing with? Now, depending on your perspective of the tricycle, you're either going to get a square or you're going to get a rectangle. So for those of you who are right behind me, I want you to look at this bike and tell me, do you think this is a square or is it a rectangle? And what I do to answer that question, I'll put my hands out like this and I'll kind of measure it and I'll say, okay, it's this wide, and then I'll flip it like this to see if it's about the same dimension. See if it's a square. What do you think? You got a 50-50 chance of getting it right. Is it a rectangle or a square?
Square.
Square. It's a square, okay? Now, if I was sitting either at the front of the bike, like where Andre is right now, or if I was sitting at the back of the bike, I'd probably get a rectangle, a tall rectangle, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to draw a square. So I'm just going to draw one of these. Start there. And again, if you look at me, I'm not measuring this out. I'm just kind of using my hands to help me. And I'm not using a ruler. This is called sketching. This is how you draw. You don't need a ruler all the time in your hand. Okay. Now I am going to draw this actually pretty dark. Now what do you think you guys should do? Should you do your drawings dark or light?
Light.
Light. The reason why you want to do them light is, again, it's easier to get rid of lines that you don't want. Okay? So this is what I have so far. As you can see, it's not a nice neat square, but it's a square. Okay? So now what I'm going to do, I know you guys can't see, come over here. You need to be able to see what I'm drawing. Come over here. Come closer. Olivia, come over here. All right, you got to be able to see what I've got on my paper. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to split this in half that way, and I'm going to split the width in half too. I'm going to find my midpoint, okay? So this basically represents the red lines that are on that handout, okay? Now what I'm going to do, I need to figure out how that seat relates to the midpoint of the space. So again, I'm going to pull my hands out here like this. I'm going to just put them together, and I'm going to see how that vertical line that's going down the middle relates to that seat, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing with the width, because I want to see if that is on top. And actually, what I'm finding is that the seat is above this horizontal line, and it does pretty much go through the middle. And what I'm going to do when I do this drawing here, I'm going to make it real basic, okay? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this seat at all, because again, guys, I'm banking on the fact that it is wrong, okay? And I'm going to have to fix it, but I don't know how to fix it until I start adding more to the drawing, okay? I just want to get it started, and I want to get it started quickly, okay? So that's all I'm going to do, okay? Before I start, I'm just going to double check to make sure I'm in the right spot. No, okay. All right, so I think I'm okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Plumb and Level, and I'm going to try to figure out, I'm going to move from the seat to the wheels. So step number one is get the seat down. Next part is to get the wheels down, okay? So what I am going to do is I'm going to assume that this front wheel is in this corner of my box, okay? Because it's the furthest over to the left and furthest down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil, hold it up, and make a horizontal line. I'm gonna put it right at the very top of the wheel, and I'm gonna see how that relates to the seat. Now it doesn't touch the seat, but there is a little bit of space between there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna draw where I feel like that horizontal line needs to be. And these are those guidelines that you saw going all over my drawing. And now I'm going to plug in my tire here for my wheel. And I want to see too, I'm going to use vertical alignment. I've got the front of my seat. I want to see if I put a vertical line right at the front of my seat, how that relates to my tire, and actually it touches it. So I'm going to draw a vertical line from the front of that seat down. And so now see, it's telling me how to fix my drawing already. So now I'm going to kind of make my wheel just a little bit wider, and that's all I'm going to do for the wheel. There's no detail. I'm not worried about making it look three-dimensional, okay? I'm not putting spokes in there. I'm not even putting pedals on there. I'm putting nothing. It's just a circle, okay? So now what I want to do is I want to figure out where these back wheels are and how they relate to everything. Now, again, I'm going to use my seat that I already have and the front wheel to help me do this. So if I take a vertical line and I put it at the end of my seat, I'm going to go ahead and draw that on because I know I'm going to do that. And I look at how that relates to the wheels. Now it's closest to the back wheel, but it doesn't touch it. So it's a little bit shy of it. So it's about right here. So now that looks like I'm going to start with that furthest wheel, I'm going to see where the left side of that wheel is and where that touches the seat. And it's past the midpoint, which is right here. So now I know where I think, where my farthest back wheel goes. And I'm just gonna, again, just draw a little circle. No detail. I don't care if it looks 3D. I don't even care if it's a good circle right now, okay? I just wanna figure out where it's gotta go. Now I wanna figure out where this front back wheel's gonna go. So what I can do is I'm going to do a couple things. I've got that line. There's a lot of space in between this line and that. I can use the front wheel actually. If I put a horizontal line at the bottom of that front wheel, I can see how that relates to the back wheel. And actually this back wheel is going to be lower than that. It's not the same part. So I'm actually working outside my box a little bit, and that's fine, okay? But what I'm going to do is now put a horizontal line at the top of my back wheel, see how that relates to my front wheel. And that actually goes through the middle of my front wheel. So now what I've got to do, I've got to find the middle of this wheel. So I'm just going to, this is again going back to finding the midpoint. I'm going to go to the middle, figure out where the middle is. I'm going to draw a line right here. So now I know where this has got to go. And I kind of just keep drawing this. If you've noticed, guys, I haven't used an eraser yet, okay? I just keep kind of adding these lines, and I'll eventually go in and clean this up, but that's where I've got now. Now, here's the thing. Remember, what happens to the size of objects as they get closer to you in space? What happens to the size? It gets bigger, okay? So even though that these two back wheels are technically the same size, because I'm closer to this front back wheel, that needs to be bigger than that, so that's why you see them two different sizes. That's going to make it look like there's a lot of space there, okay? Now, if you notice, I don't have the bar that connects everything. I don't have the back platform. I haven't even started the handlebars. None of that matters to me right now. The way that I look at it is if I can figure out where the seat and the wheels are, my hope is that I should be able to connect everything and it should look right. Now, again, when I go to do that, I'm banking on the fact that it's probably wrong. I'm going to assume that it's wrong, and I'm going to go back and probably need to make adjustments to all of these, but they should be small adjustments, okay? So, what I want everybody to do, I want you to pick a bike to work on, okay? And I want you to get to this point where you have the seat and the three wheels down, all right? And then we'll start the next one after that. All right, here you go.